So, good afternoon and welcome to Ageless by Design. I'm your host, Rebecca Chernek, and I got to tell you, we have a great show in store for you this afternoon, and it's all about hormone replacement facts versus myths. And believe me, there's some myths out there because I have a few of my own. So, of course, it's Sunday with Coffey, and we do have Mary Coffey, and she is in the house, and she is, as a reminder, she is the founder of Boutique Wellness and MedSpa in Winston-Salem. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to absolutely love, adore Mary. She really knows her stuff and then some. But before we go ahead and go there and ask Mary to share her brief background to get us started, I want to make sure you know that for those that are new to this channel, we are going live. We're going live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And of course, if you like what we're talking about, please hit that like button and please share. Okay, so this is going out to thousands of my connections on social media everywhere. So last week, I got a phone call from a friend, associate that I've known for years, asking me, Becky, are you leaving the automotive industry for the health and wellness industry? And not quite yet. I'm not quite there just yet. Still in the automotive industry, but here's what I'm doing. I'm paying attention. Here's the thing. I'm getting older, and it's happening. But at the end of the day, it's all about how you feel, how you look, right? If you can stay in the game. I don't plan on throwing in the towel anytime soon. I don't. I do want, though, to look the part, and I do know the importance of playing the part. So I do know that this is going out to folks, associates, dealer principals in automotive retail, as well as RV, marine industry, as well as yacht brokers, real estate industry brokers, wealth and management associates. And here's what I do know. The top talent, they own the room, they look the part, they play the part, they have determination and endurance. And that's what I'm all about. Anything I could do to go ahead and slow down the aging process, I'm all for. Why not? And so that's why I want to invite you in here, tune in here to find out what you can do to stay in the game. Mm-hmm. All right. So Mary, if you wouldn't mind, please share your brief background and bio, if you wouldn't mind, to get us started.
Sure. So I'm a functional pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for 25 years, 26 years. Oh my gosh, I'm that old. Was doing traditional pharmacy for a while, went back when I realized that, hey, this isn't working. I can't fill 19 prescriptions for a patient, and it's just putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. So I went back, got my fellowship in regenerative and anti-aging medicine from A4M, and I'm also a clinical nutritionist. So I practice getting to the root cause of why people get sick, why people feel a certain way, rather than just giving them prescriptions. I do a lot of drug-induced nutrient deficiencies, do a lot of medical weight loss through chemical and hormone balancing. And then I fell in love with aesthetics. So then I started Boutique Wellness in 2018. When I met Dr. Joe Cleaver in 2019, and then incorporated, now we do about 50%, maybe 70% aesthetics. And the rest is functional medicine. A lot of our aesthetic patients also are involved with preparing the body physiologically so they have less complications and better outcomes. So clinically, we do a lot of regenerative aesthetics. What's that? So it's PRP, PRF, exosomes, right? So it's like, okay, so these are things that have a better return on investment that are going to help with the structure and the integrity of our skin health, as well as internally in our cells. I hope that answers everything.
Well,
long answer, but that's who I am.
That's a lot there. There's a lot there.
More than that, but that's what I do.
I know. I told you guys, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And so is Dr. Joe Cleaver. He is amazing. He was on last week. He'll be on next week. He had to fly out and back to his practice in Dallas. Anyway, so This is what's so important. It's like understanding what's available today that makes a difference. And, whether it be regenerative aesthetics and medicines to take care of that appearance, but also when we talk about vitality, endurance, and energy, this is really important. And we're going to talk about too, guys, just so you know, mental health. Mary dives right into it all. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. What she has done for me it's been incredible. Okay. And so let's talk about this hormone replacement. One thing I shared with Mary, I said, Mary, listen, I don't know about this hormone replacement stuff. My stepmother, no longer with us, but she, I guess, had a hysterectomy. She had a hysterectomy, and then she was put on these hormone replacement. I guess that's what it was. And I mean, she just blew up. I mean, went from a size 10 to 20 like overnight. And I swore up and down I wouldn't touch freaking hormone ever. And Mary and I had a sit down conversation. She's like, what are you talking about? So here's the thing. I'm going to ask you, Mary, if you would. What are the biggest myths around hormone replacements that are still holding people like me back today from doing hormone?
You don't need hormones. Okay, I can't tell you how many patients come in that have had a hysterectomy and have been misled into thinking that they do not need hormones. If anything, they need it more than those that have not, because now they're forced into menopause. Okay, it's like oil in a car. Okay, so if you're low in estrogen, you're low in progesterone, you're low in testosterone, why not fill it? Don't we want to feel and look like we did when we were 25? Why not replace it? Right. So I always try to refer, for everyone that's here, probably more affiliated with those that are in the vehicle industry, it's replenishing what's lacking. Right. As we age, estrogen has 600 different chemical reactions in the body. Right. Women produce more testosterone than men, on average. Right. So, and people that have had a hysterectomy, or even have, a partial hysterectomy, oftentimes they just think that they don't need hormones, and then they're miserable. They have atrophy. They have zero drive. They have their memories going. They're starting to gain weight, right? So that plays a huge role. It's not the number one role, because that's not all I do. It's managing the HPA axis. It's managing stress. It's managing microbiome, the gut. It's managing endocrinology. It's everything. But if you don't manage those hormones, you're going to get weight. You're going to gain the weight back again, because 1 in 5 people now are prescribed a GLP. So it's become an epidemic now. And now we're having all these people that are losing weight and that are very dependent. There are receptors in the body that actually make you dependent on a GLP-1 agonist, which are what? Semaglutide, tirzepatide, and soon to come, retatrutide. And I can talk about those differences as well, but you can stay on a microdose, but the most important is balancing chemistry. And hormones do play a big role, not only with libido, but also with weight loss. There is a healthy estrogen progesterone balance that men and women, believe it or not, men also need some progesterone.
No, I'll tell you, Mary, here's the thing. I didn't mean to cut you off on that one, but I had another conversation, and I'd like to bring this gentleman on the show, an automotive retail professional who called me, and we talked about men and hormone replacement. And I'm like, what? He's like, yes, this is big. This is a lot bigger than what I had even realized. I knew for me, I was struggling with it. I had a hard time really understanding hormone replacement. It wasn't until you and I really had a good sit down talk as far as I was concerned, that I realized that maybe I don't know as much as I think that I did when it comes to that. All I know is I've been on it, and I'm feeling so much better. I am so much in charge of my day to day. And I mean, it's like night and day, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So here's the other thing. Does hormone replacement actually cause and we talked about that, weight gain or increase in cancer risks?
No, if anything, there's a decrease in cancer risk. There's three kinds of estrogen. There's estrone, estradiol, and estriol. Okay, so as we hit menopause, we only produce estrone. This is females, okay? And that estrone doesn't really convert to estradiol and estriol, which is the more active forms, is what our body needs. When our bodies don't have the receptors, specifically the estriol in our breasts or ovaries, then other receptors such as xenoestrogens that mimic the molecule of estrogen can attach, increasing that risk of cancer. So the more balanced our hormones are, the less risk we have of developing cancer. In addition to that, estrone have metabolites. There's 2, 4, and 16 hydroxy metabolites, right? So what are those? The 2 and the 16 are cancer protective. They're active. The 4, however, can cause DNA damage. And that's, all of them produce a certain type of ratio, but that's usually measured by urine. There is a specific test that I like to run on all my patients that do hormones. It's called the Dutch test. It's a urine metabolite test. And it tells me not only how you're metabolizing your hormones, but it'll tell me the ratios. It'll tell me your organic acid testing, such as your B6, your B12, your pyridoxines, but it'll also tell me your neurotransmitters. Okay, so there's a lack in dopamine. So oftentimes it may not be hormones. It may be dopamine. It may be norepinephrine, epinephrine. So it's a really nice test. So back to your question, do hormones or bioidentical hormone replacement therapy cause cancer? I would say no, it does not. And that was a misconception based on a WHI study that was done, I think, in the early 2000s or 1990s, I believe. And they have since then reversed that standing and stated now that, hey, this can actually protect me from getting or developing cancer. Or everyone can get it. It's just a matter of whether or not those receptors are awake and or epigenetically if they're going to attach to that cancer cell or that cancer gene or mutation. Does that make sense? So I don't want to get too geeky, but it's really about preparing the body physiologically and our genes to optimize those that can protect you from cancer. And that one of those are balancing hormones, but there are some things that we can also do to help with increased autophagy or to increase that rate of cell turnover to prevent cancers as well.
We might have a couple hellos here. Tony Owens, thank you so much. And good evening to you. I'm glad you're able to be on tonight or this afternoon, however, which way you look at it, depending on your time zone. We also have Rob's in the house. Thank you so much. Roger, I'm sorry, for being here with us on LinkedIn of all places. And of course, we have Andrew Pearson. Thank you so much. And Carissa, thank you so much for being on here with us this afternoon. So some of this is where it's all going. It's like rapid speed ahead when it comes to learning more about slowing down the aging process. It's about education. Believe me when I tell you, it's a lot of information coming at you all at one time. But it's really understanding and learning from the experts and not someone who, wants a quick buck. And I think we've all been scammed before when it comes to this. I know for TikTok, for myself, I can't begin to tell you how many lotions I bought over the past that tried to make a difference on how I look and feel. Well, at least look. And frankly, nothing really happened. But again, it's really going to the pros, right? Really making a difference of those that really are making a difference in the health and wellness industry. And Mary, you certainly are a part of that. We also have, Tony Owens. Thank you so much. And he's like, thanks, Rebecca Chernek. Thank you, Tony Owens, for being a part of the podcast this afternoon. Okay, another question or two. What are the real benefits of properly managed hormone therapy for energy? I'm all about energy. I've got to have energy, as you well know. I mean, I'm traveling. I'm on the road, constant in dealerships all over Raleigh, and after a while, I'm telling you, it really takes its toll. And manage hormone therapy for energy, focus, and overall performance?
That's a great question. Yeah, so the first hormone that's usually depleted, especially in females, is progesterone. And progesterone, depending on how it's taken, when it's taken orally, can have more of a calming effect. It increases what's called the calming neurotransmitter, which is called GABA, and it helps us have that deep sleep. So oftentimes when we hit that premenopause stage, women have a difficult time sleeping. That's one of the symptoms. Or they have lower abdominal belly fat because they have too much estrogen and they don't have enough progesterone. Does that make sense? So balancing that will help you sleep better, because quite honestly, if you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night or having a bowel movement every day, then it's pointless doing anything. Does that mean that is first and foremost? You have to sleep. You have to have restful sleep. It's not just sleep. It's like you wake up and you're ready to tackle that day. You wake up and you have great ideas, right? You're ready to write things down and you're checking things off. Like, I'm an early riser and I feel great when I wake up because I know what to take. So balancing that progesterone and estrogen balance in females is really key. For men, usually around 2-3 o'clock, they are tired. They're on the couch. They just can hardly keep their eyes open. Oftentimes it is a TRT deficiency. And it will help with thermogenesis. It helps with energy. It helps with building muscle. It helps with libido. I can't tell you how many marriages I've saved just placing their female on testosterone a little bit. And the husband's like, what did you do to her? She's a different woman, you know? So she's like, hey, you're coming home. I'm going to inject, you know.
All our secrets. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's true. It's true. It's true.
Important in a marriage.
Yeah.
To have a healthy sex life, right? To have a healthy libido.
Yeah.
I think it's first and foremost, actually, in a marriage, right? So I think, you know, and you want to, when a woman walks into a room, I always say that, it's like, you want to own the room, or you want to feel confident. You want to feel like, oh, I just walked into this room and you feel great about yourself. That's testosterone. That's more dihydrotestosterone. You don't want too much because that causes hair loss. Right? Or too much testosterone can cause PCOS and cause hirsutism and acne, right? So there is a healthy balance, and measuring how you're metabolizing the hormones, putting you on good quality fiber, and finding ways to not only optimize your pulsing of the testosterone, but also how to make it so that your body's producing it too. So at Boutique Wellness, not only do we give you, you know, possibly an exogenous testosterone, now there's new LPTs, which is pulsing it through an oral lipophilic type delivery system, which is, in my opinion, better than doing injections, because there is a difference between doing IM injections and in the fat injections. Number one, when you take it in the muscle, it increases your estrogen. So most men that are on testosterone replacement therapy are not on an aromatase inhibitor. What's that? That's something that prevents estrogen. So they're going to get big bellies. They're going to get a decrease in their size, hypogonadism. They're going to get a decreased size in their testes, right? They're like, hey, what's going on here? Well, shut off your body's ability to make testosterone. So cycling that or balancing it from, I call it the thermostat and the furnace. So we want to always keep that stimulative and pulsing effect with your body making it too, right? So there's the thermostat, there's the furnace, and there's certain protocols that I do to support both axes so that you don't always have to go up on your testosterone. You can stay low. And so there's so many advanced delivery systems that most practitioners aren't aware of. These are very new, and it mimics your body's pulsing effect to making testosterone, because it usually lasts about 4 to 6 hours and then depletes from there. Okay, so then when I mention IM, that intramuscular injection that most people are just doing once a week increases estrogen. And if you have too much what's called sex hormone binding globulin, it holds on to it and it becomes estrogen even more. So very little is actually turning to free testosterone. Whereas if you take it subcutaneous or in the fat, it goes up and down and it stays at a more steady state, and you do it more twice a week versus just once a week. So at Boutique Wellness, we personalize our approach. It's not just one size fits all. We measure and we tweak based on how you feel. We don't chase numbers. Although legally, medically, we have to take a urine metabolite and your plasma and your blood work to match it and correlate and to start therapy. But I don't dose it based on lab values. It's really based on how a patient feels. But of course, if it's astronomical, it's high, but there's a peak and there's a trough. So when you do labs, you want to take it and measure it on the same time that you take every week, right? So that we have a reproducible number and lab value, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm learning all the time here, Miss Mary. But here's what I do know. I know that I know that I have implemented some of this, and the some that I have implemented and has made a huge difference, just a huge difference. So this is why this is so important to me, because I think that some of the information that we're getting from others and not necessarily from the right experts in the industry can make all the difference in the world. And, we talked about, and we will have we will have an event at your boutique and a wellness, and we will have, and Mary and Dr. Cleaver for that much matter, hopefully, I don't know if you'd be able to attend or not, but really go into some of the deep-seated questions that folks will have with regard to whether it be like peptides, hormone replacement, as well as regenerative medicines and aesthetics and everything else, and stem cell research and everything else that you offer. But at least one thing, they're going to hear it from, experts that are in the industry that know this inside and out, that really want the best outcome. And it has to be customized, right? It's not every pill for everybody.
Right. Yes.
And I think that's what we think. And this is why some things just don't end up working. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's because of myths like what I had, or facts that aren't, we don't know what those facts truly are, right?
Yeah. And a lot of patients also on oral estrogen. And there's actually a greater risk of DVT, right? Or stroke, taking an oral form of estrogen versus a bioidentical cream, okay? Or even a patch. The patch is only estradiol. It doesn't have estriol. If you don't have estriol, what does that cause? Wrinkles around our eyes, wrinkles on our face, if we don't have estrogen, but also vaginal atrophy. So so I like to combine my estrogen and my estriol as well. But men need estrogen too. Men need it too. So I measure estrogen. There's a healthy number for testosterone and there's a healthy number for estrogen, and they also need progesterone too, because that also converts to estrogen. So just knowing the pathways, understanding the body, you're your best advocate, right? But going to a professional that does know bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, that isn't just going to prescribe it for you and never see you again or talk to you, and you're just going to stay on this forever. It's not healthy, just to be on testosterone without measuring it. You have to give blood every 6 months. You have to check hemoglobin, hematocrit. Your blood thickens. It increases the risk of estrogen. There's a lot of things that we need to measure if you're going to be on testosterone replacement therapy, especially, which is commonly prescribed, the injectable form, and usually it's given in the glutes as intramuscular, right? So as I mentioned, that a delivery system increases the aromatase, which can increase estrogen. Okay, so measuring that, and that can cause, eventually, you feel great for 6 months, and then later you're like, holy cow, I feel like crap again. It just came back. So most important is we manage stress, get you to sleep. Because if we don't manage that, we can manage your hormones, but you'll feel good for 6 months, but it'll come right back. So
I will say, if you really want to know I'm gonna talk about my daily routines. However, they're getting better, and I'm feeling a lot better, and I certainly am sleeping every night, and sleep has been good. All right. So, how can someone tell if they're a good candidate for hormone replacement, and what symptoms should they be paying attention to?
Male or female? Okay, so for
Okay,
female,
male or female.
okay, for a female, typically they're not sleeping, or they have difficulty either falling asleep or staying asleep. They have low difficulty losing weight, no matter what they do, because what happens is it's a vicious cycle. When you're not making estradiol, that estrone actually causes insulin resistance. So what's that? It's where your body is not sensitive to when you eat, and your body's not producing insulin. Your pancreas isn't producing insulin. It's very common in postmenopausal women. They're very insulin resistant. That's why the GLPs are working, because it helps reduce that, makes them a little bit more insulin sensitive. Those are some common symptoms. So no sex drive, absolutely no libido, not sleeping, and difficulty losing weight. Okay, that's a symptom that we need to balance hormones. For men, they're tired all the time. They could hardly stay awake around come 2, 3 o'clock. They have no sex drive. They don't really care for it. They have no creativity, right? So those are some symptoms. They can't build muscle no matter what they do. They're at the gym and they still aren't able to build muscle. So those are some symptoms usually for men when there is a hormone deficient. Brain fog, that's also really big, because hormones are really big in prevention of Alzheimer's, right? Or dementia. That's actually, top in the list when we think about, brain and cognitive decline. There's, as I mentioned earlier, estrogen has 600 different chemical reactions in the body that it helps in, that it's responsible for. Men need it too. Osteoporosis, osteopenia, you're getting fractures all the time. We need to balance our hormones, right? So women need it, men need it, but most importantly, it's supporting your body's ability to make it too. So lifestyle is most important. It's not just about, like, I'm a pharmacist, right? It's not about just prescribing something and you're great, It's about stimulating that response. It's a pulsative response that mimics your body's ability to make it, but also supporting lifestyle. Like, I hit the gym 6 days a week. I did it last week 4 days a week. That stimulates what? Testosterone. Right? You can produce it endogenously too by exercise, especially when you do lower extremities, when you do glutes, right? It increases a lot of testosterone. Grip strength, that's one of the keys to longevity, right? So lifestyle is one of those things. If you can't make it to the gym, you're not building muscle. Those are some symptoms. Vaginal dryness, painful intercourse. I can't tell you how many, or just constant UTIs. Right, because of the microbiome in that in the vaginal area as well. So all of that plays a huge role, but it's not just about hormones. It's also about the microbiome. It's about collagen, and it's about lifestyle.
Well, there's a lot going on here, right, that you have to figure out, but we can figure out and make a difference, right? It can make a difference to those that are, for me, I don't want to, I'm not all about throwing in the towel. I feel like, I talked to another associate this last week, and we were talking about, well, I won't tell you how his age, I'll just leave that out for now. Well, anyway, he was 65, and he said, Beck, here's the deal. I retired from one business. I'm starting my life all over again. And why can't we do that? Why is it that someone somewhere has dictated an age number and said, oh, well, now it's time for you to, retire. It's it. You've had a great life. You had a great career. Now it's time to go home. No, I don't think so. I think that there are plenty of folks out there that if they have the understanding that there are things that they can do to make a difference in their life, they should. And it will make a bigger difference in their life and their outcome. Yeah?
100%. It's not about retiring. In fact, I think people age faster when they retire. I think it's about having purpose. And retirement, in my definition, is not so much not working, because that's not attractive, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's not having to. Right? We all always have to have purpose, and we're always working towards something, improving ourselves in some way or fashion. That's why we're here, right? We're on this planet to learn and to expand, right? Not just to watch TV and play golf all the time. Yeah, if you're playing golf, that's great. You're getting better at golf, right? You're making connections, right? It's about community. So that goes all, absolutely. I think you can restart a career at 75. I think, physiologically, we probably can live to 120 if we control what we eat, and we are very conscientious of not eating, just reading, knowing what we're putting in our mouths, balancing hormones, balancing chemistry, but also, having a healthy community and lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're inundated. I think cortisol is the biggest, marker of longevity. People are so stressed right now because we're so inundated with data. There's, people want things yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's about just being kind to one another too, and just being aware of where we are, what we're doing, being present. When we have that mentality of just being where we are when right now, even just talking about it empowers you. And that's first and foremost, is just staying present. And then there is no, who cares about tomorrow, because we're right here, right now. We're enjoying and we're living to the fullest, the best way we could, right? We feel the best that we possibly could. And that's what matters. If we're not here tomorrow, then we're not. But most importantly, I made a difference. I did something with my life, right? And I feel great, and I experienced joy,
Right.
Because that's the only truth, right? Is joy, in my opinion.
It is. It is. Right. Making the best of anything that and everything that you are, right? Why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I'm not all about this throw in the towel and reach a certain number and now not for me. And you're right. It's all about purpose, right? And how you feel. And there are some who feel like, well, maybe it's my time. Well, it's not your time. Have you looked at everything, right? Before you decide that you're going to do something like that. So I might have one other question. What does safe and effective hormone therapy look like today compared to how it was approached years ago?
Oh, it's a great question. So years ago, they used to just do like oral estrogen or Premarin, which is one of the leading causes of actually cancer and stroke. So before, it was hormone replacement therapy. And now, I guess in the past, I would say 20 years. I mean, I've been involved with this maybe 20, 25 years. Now it's just becoming forefront because practitioners are researching it and now offering it to their patients more. Now it's more bioidentical hormone replacement therapy that mimics the molecule in our bodies. The future, I think, is actually going to a more pulsating, where it mimics your body's pulse in making hormones every day. I think that's healthier because it prevents that conversion. It does not pass through the liver. When you take something orally, it goes to the liver, and there's a lot of heparin factors, clotting factors that are increased when you take an oral form of estrogen, which is quite, in my opinion, antiquated now. So now we've kind of diverted more. If you're going to do, like, for instance, estrogen therapy for women, I prefer to have a combination, either a 50-50, 80-20, depending on their symptoms, of estradiol and estriol. So that's E2 and E3. Okay, so each one has its own mechanism, but depending on their symptoms, a cream is most efficient. It's lipophilic, and it's usually a cream that you apply every night and you rub it in for about 60 minutes. That helps with hot flashes. That's also another main symptom, which I missed earlier in your question, of needing hormones when you're having hot flashes. And let me tell you, you don't have to live through it. The earlier you treat it, the better, the easier it will be. So the minute you have hot flashes, you don't have to live through those hot flashes. We can balance it. Okay. So I would say now we've come to that more gracious, kind of balancing modality where you're doing creams. Now I'm finding testosterone oral, but it's not the oral that goes to the liver. It bypasses the liver and goes directly to the plasma. That mimics the pulsing effect of how you make testosterone. That, in my opinion, is the future. Not many practitioners know about it. Probably less than 20 in the country know about it. I study delivery systems all the time. What's the best delivery system for these hormones, right? For our organs, so it's not stressing our liver. So there's two, that's most important, right? Because we're inundated with toxins and it's stressing our liver. So I would say the most advanced now when it comes to hormones is either an oral delivery of testosterone that goes directly into the plasma, bypassing the liver, and a biased cream. And if you're going to take progesterone, you want to take that orally, depending on the age. If you're like still childbearing, but you're still having estrogen dominance, you're having acne, then you do need to balance that progesterone. It is cancer protective. There is a healthy ratio. That's where I would recommend the cream, or I would just recommend it on days 15 to days 30 or 28 of your cycle, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I would do. Otherwise, if you're not sleeping, as I mentioned earlier, progesterone helps with that calming effect. It increases what's called GABA, right? And you see it at CVS, at Walgreens now, GABA, aminobutyric acid. It's a calming neurotransmitter. When you take it orally, it helps you sleep. And that there's a sustained release that I like, and there's an immediate release that's available at Walgreens and CVS. The sustained release is more cancer protective because it's going to maintain a steady state concentration of that progesterone. It's going to keep you asleep much longer. You're not going to wake up at 3 a.m. wide awake. What do I do now? Right. So that
I think everybody's going to start running out and getting some of that. Like, what did she say? Wait a minute. Let me write this down.
Yeah, I know. And I'm happy
folks out there that aren't sleeping. I know it. I mean,
yeah,
they're up at night. They're stressed out. You know, when you're talking automotive retail industry or any sales industry for that much matter, you know, these folks are like grinding it out, and they are stressed out. Many, and not all, everyone, no, but there's some out there that are stressed out, and I can bet they're up at night, and that's like the worst thing that can happen to you, right? That is the worst thing. I mean, it's so I bet they're out there thinking about it and saying, okay, well, let's write this down. And let's do what we can to go ahead and get a better night's sleep. That's for sure. So here's the thing. Mary, you and I have talked about, we haven't quite come up with a date yet, but I really want to create, we have talked about doing an event at your boutique wellness. And again, this is, and Mary promised me some other photos of the boutique wellness, but this is just a beautiful practice. And it's just a great, she has the restaurant at on the lower level, the wellness center up at the top level. It's just a beautiful practice. If you want to explain, you know, the history of this, this magnificent facility, I mean, by all means, please kind of share with us what's going on.
Sure. So it's one of the 2 mansions left in Winston-Salem, that and Spring House. So anybody that knows those areas, it's part of the Historical Preservation Society. It was built in 1907 by Carol Rosenbacher. She was in the clothing industry and only had 3 owners prior to, you know, boutique wellness. And it's it's very stately when you walk in. It's, you know, we try to keep, it's for me to define the place. And I just realized this, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to have better ideas, but it's serenity. So when you walk in, you feel like you're healing already because you leave all that stress and you're coming in with your desires of what it is that you want. And I'm not healing, but I am guiding you towards your health goals. And that's what upstairs and downstairs brings. It's a place where people can heal. It's a place where people can have healthy foods. It's a place of ministry. You know, it's a place of, you know, you can have a glass of nice boutique wines, or we do have mixed beverages too. And we have, you know, we have farmers market coming soon. So I'm in the process of building that out. But most importantly, you come in and you feel welcomed. You're a part of a family. So before this, this house was built by Carol Rosenbacher. I think she owned it for about 40 years. The Hutchins had bought it. It was an antique shop. And then Joe Williams had purchased it back in 2016. It was abandoned. And he bought it for nothing and fixed it up. And that's where a good business is for those that are in the historical preservation, because it's all subsidized. So the government gives you that money, whatever you put in, and he did all that. And he's since then built, I don't know, dozens of homes, all within the Winston-Salem, and all that is public information. I fell in love with the house when we did a Botox and bubbly party back in 2022. It just told me that I was supposed to be there. When you first walk into a house, for those that house shop and you just feel it. Well, that's what I felt. You just know, like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And there was not a shadow of a doubt. And then a month later, I moved in. I said, okay, I'm ready. Whatever you got. And then we're still there, and we love it, and we're growing. And people that come there, they become family. So we hope you guys allow yourself to visit us.
So let me see if I can do this real quick.
Maybe just the upstairs if you're going to do it. Yeah.
Okay. That's your upstairs.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so that's our injector room. That's where we do a lot of our Dysport. We do Botox. This is our laser room. We do hydrofacials. We have laser hair. We do Nuvaderm. Well, we do a lot of hair restoration. 100% successful. We do skin resurfacing. This is our full bathroom. That's the original tub. Also, it's just for our guests. Then we have a check-in room coming up to the right. When you first walk in, this is where a receptionist will be just to get you checked in and get you ready. We do intake forms. We do photos. It's pretty thorough. We have a slew of some of our favorite supplements that we like also. And then we have, this is our photo room. People like, when they come in, our big thing is aesthetics. We do a lot of aesthetics. We do a lot of hair restoration, stem cell hair restoration. We do PRP, PRF. We also do some IV therapy, some Myers cocktails. And then we also have M-Sculpt Neo, M-Face, M-Cella. So those are BTL devices, which you'll see shortly, which contours the body. So our M-Sculpt can reduce fat. It can build muscle. It can tighten skin. It's from Prague. So it's like Cool Sculpting, but on steroids, 10 times more advanced than Cool Sculpting. It's called M-Sculpt, and she's going to enter that room right now. And that is it right there, straight ahead. It's called M-Sculpt Neo. A lot of you probably already know about that. And that's this device here. That's the M-Cella chair for urinary incontinence. We do a lower facelift that doesn't have any needles, no downtime. That's M-Face. So we have those devices. We also have Shockwave. Most people don't even know about that. I'm like, why aren't we advertising this? We have this great device. It's called Cellutope. It's not Shockwave, but it increases stem cells, right? You can even use it for erectile dysfunction. You can use it for pain. So I usually like to, this is my office. So this is where we do our consultations, and that's the end. Okay, that's great. I love this. Okay, good. So I can at least give you a good, we've changed things around since then. So I'll make a new one. We're always changing things around. So it's.
I know. I just thought it would be great for folks to see your practice. It's gorgeous. And every time I go there, I just love it. I mean, I just feel at home, and I know that what we're doing is the best for me. So I certainly appreciate that. So where I was going with this is that we're going to be doing an event, and you'll hold it at your restaurant, and wine and cheese and that sort of stuff. And at that point, you'll be taking the podium, and you'll talk about all these different aesthetics, regenerative aesthetics, medicines, and peptides, or hair restoration, or whatever. So there'll be specific topics. But I think at that point, it's really important because people can really see it firsthand. It's tough, when we're talking, on a podcast, which is great. All the information is fantastic, fabulous. But when you hear it firsthand and see it and believe it, it makes all the difference in the world. And that's why I'm super excited about doing this event. And that way folks can ask you at firsthand, their questions when it comes to some of these services and treatments.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for hosting this. This was a great show.
It was a great show. And thank you guys for being here with us this afternoon. And hopefully again, next Sunday, I'm going to put Mary on the mark. But is Dr. Joe Cleaver, you think, going to be here with us next Sunday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll be in Dallas, but I should be able to.
You'll be in Dallas too?
I'll be if we do it early, but I'll probably do it in the afternoon when I get back. So he'll be in Dallas and I'll be here. So, but we have a conference in Dallas, but yeah, I should be back by then, Sunday afternoon.
Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll play it by ear, guys. Okay, let's go ahead.
Right.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you.